We all know the importance of yoga, and it is for meditation, for yoga, that we come to Baba. So the first thought that brings us to Baba is, I want to learn meditation. And what is yoga? So the definition of yoga is, forget your body, bodily religions and relations. Consider yourself to be a soul and remember your Father God. That's the definition of yoga. And Baba says that we are the only ones who recognize the soul, who have received the introduction of Baba. Because you see, how can you become aware of yourself as a soul if you don't know your introduction? And how can you remember God, your Father, if you don't have His introduction? And I tell you one thing, there's this one Mata and she was sharing an experience. She said that there's a relative of mine, and that relative we have known for very long, but suddenly he got convicted in a case, and when he got convicted, then we came to know that he had committed a crime. And then with that knowledge that he had committed a crime, when we looked back at all the incidents in our life and whatever association we've had with him, we were very appalled by the fact that he was always showing these signs of being a criminal, but we could never notice. So she was telling me that it's very surprising to think that this person who we've known for so long, and when we look back, I understand in this light that, he did that crime. Now when we look at him in that light, then we understand this was always there, and why didn't we get it? So I was telling her that, there is an importance of knowledge, and knowledge is the light that makes you see the obvious. So, everything is always there. You see, even the 5 elements of nature, or the laws of physics or biology or chemistry, or the possibilities of what you can do with nature, they are always there. But until somebody discovers them, until somebody uses them, until you get the knowledge of them, you can't experience it. Similarly, Baba says that I give you the knowledge that you are a star sitting behind the eyes, and you have a mind, intellect, sanskars. You are the soul doing everything through the body, and your essential quality is peace. And because you have that knowledge, you can sit in soul consciousness. It's not that when Baba comes we become a soul. We are always a soul. But with the light of knowledge, you can sit in the awareness of who you are. And then the awareness of who is Baba, what is Baba like, what does Baba look like, what does Baba feel like, what is Baba's vibration, where is he? So Baba says, I am in the soul world, and I am also like a star, and I am the one sending waves of peace, purity, love your way. and I am the one who comes and speaks the Murli to you every day. So Baba gives his introduction also. And you see that the first thing about the first step of yoga is knowing the soul, knowing your home, knowing your Baba. But then if there are 100 steps to becoming a yogi, then that's just the first step. Knowing yourself, knowing Baba is the first step. And what are the other 99 steps? Remembering Baba and doing whatever he says. So these are the 99 next steps. But you see, the interesting thing is, these days we have a sanskar. We want to know something, and then we spend a lot of time, energy hankering after it, and then we know it, and then we don't do it. And I'll tell you one story. So there's this one Mata, she said, I have a microwave and I could not figure out the right way to clean it. I was not able to figure out how to clean it. And then somebody sent me a very nice video, and now I exactly know how to clean it. And so I said, congratulations, now your microwave is clean. So she said, no, I didn't clean it. I just figured out how to clean it. So I said, but why didn't you, and how long has it been? So she said, it's been 1 month and I know how to clean it, but you have to get up, you have to take things, you have to put in effort, and you have to clean it. That's a big deal. So, but I know how to clean it, so I can do it any day. So I said, but you see, you have to figure out when you want to do it and do it. Otherwise, all the knowledge will go to waste. So Baba says that you are the only ones who know how to remember me. But considering yourself to be a soul and remembering me, and Baba has told us that if you want to burn all your sins of 63 births and you want to imbibe the virtues for the next 21 births, then what do you have to do? You have to remember Baba for at least 8 hours a day. That is the goal. So at least 8 hours a day you have to remember Baba. And that can be a combination of sitting yoga and karma yoga. So you can sit and remember Baba, and you can stay in that state of remembrance while doing karma, while cooking, doing your office work, traveling, commuting. All of these things you can do. But what I have figured from experience is, if it is not 50-50, if it is not like you are having at least, for me, I have calculated it's 3.5. So at least 3.5 hours of sitting yoga you need to be a karma yogi. If you are not giving enough time to sitting yoga, then you might think that you're doing everything in Baba's remembrance, but that won't be the case. You will be absorbed in what you're doing. So Baba says that you must have a lot of time of sitting yoga. And you see that Baba gives us this timetable that at least from 4 in the morning to 4:45, that 45 minutes you devote to remembering Baba, right? Then 15 minutes before the class. And you see, we have this system here that even when I conduct the online class, I take 7:30 to 7:45 at least, there is yoga. So 15 minutes before the class, this is the Manthan class, 15 minutes before the Murli. So when you listen to the Murli in the morning, or any time you listen to the Murli, 15 minutes before the Murli, then during the day you can find some breaks in which you can fix your time to have sitting yoga. And especially, you see, if you're working, I remember when I was into the job, then I would take half an hour of my lunch time for remembrance. So even if I ate food, it would be very quietly and in remembrance of Baba, and that half an hour would be in good meditative state. And then evening yoga, Baba says that 6:30 to 7:30 in the evening, that's called Numa Sham. That's the time that's the time when everybody in bhakti is also remembering God. So you see why Baba chooses this Amrit Vela and Numa Sham is because Amrit Vela from 4 to 4:45 in the morning, most people are asleep. Yes, so there is very less traffic of thoughts in the environment. And at that time, when you remember Baba, then you will be able to have very good remembrance. Because just like if you have to travel to a great distance and you start early in the morning when there is no traffic on the street, then you can make it to long distances. Similarly, when there is no traffic of thought in the environment, that's a very good time to connect to the soul world and to Baba, because Baba is on a different dimension and unplugging from here, connecting there becomes very easy. And then with that momentum in the daytime also, you keep that momentum built up. And then in the evening, Baba says Numa Sham, or 6:30 to 7:30 in the evening is a very good time to remember Baba, because most people in bhakti are doing some sort of, aarti or pujan or something at that time. And because of that, minds of people in the world are oriented towards God. And that environment is also very conducive for remembering Baba. So Baba says that these are two timings, and then Baba says every 1 hour you must have a break ranging from 3 minutes to 1 minute. And if you have time, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, take a break, remember Baba. If you don't have much time, take a 1 minute break and remember Baba. And then before going to sleep, at least have half an hour of Baba's remembrance. So these are the timings. This is how you have to plan your day, because you see, what cannot find a place in your day cannot find a place in your life. And if I want to have a yogi life, although I live in a setting of a grihasth, I can have a yogi life, and that is what Baba has told us. So you have to pay very good attention to this practice of remembrance and committing your time and thought to Baba's remembrance. And Baba says this is the way to burn your sins. And then through the everyday murli, you keep understanding what to do, what not to do. And the murli and what to do, what not to do will make sense to you if you have done enough yoga. So you will be able to get it. And second thing is, yoga gives you the power to follow Baba's Srimad. So when you listen to the Murli and Baba says, for example, today Baba says that have courage in every situation. Don't have any weak thought in any situation. So you understood that courage is the step to help. So if you have courage, then Baba will help you. If you give up on your courage, and if you give up on hope, and if you go into despair, then Baba cannot help you. So you understood this. But when will you be able to have courage in a challenging situation? If you have yoga power. So knowledge tells you what to do, knowledge creates the intention to do something, but then yoga power gives you the strength to put that intention into practice. So this combination of knowledge and yoga is mandatory for growth. And then there is also the importance of, Devi Gun or divine virtues. So let's say the divine virtue for speech is sweetness. So if you don't speak sweetly, then what happens is you are giving sorrow. So you may have to give directions, clear directions, but it should be in sweet speech. So you can be clear, you can be very, you can be very straight in your conversation, but then you have to be sweet. So Baba says, and if you're not paying attention to divine virtues in actions, then what happens is you are creating a karmic account where you will not be able to be free from the vibrations that your karma has set in. So let's say I have done morning yoga and I read the Murli also, and now I'm leaving for work, and then the house help who had to come on time, she came late, and then I shouted at her, and then I left home, and now I'm sitting in the car and I'm thinking that while driving I'll stay in Baba's remembrance. But you know what, you cannot stay in Baba's remembrance, because when you shouted at her, she is now thinking about how bad a person you are. And then what happens is, when she is sending those vibrations your way, you will be unsettled while you drive. So this is the thing about having virtues in action. If you are not sweet, if you are not polite, if you are not tolerant, if you don't let go, if you don't observe purity, then what happens is these actions that you perform in a non-virtuous way will set a karmic account which will not allow you to practice what you intend to practice. So this is why these virtues are very important. And fourth thing is seva. So Baba says that you must devote some aspect of your body, mind, wealth into godly seva. And when you do that, then this bigger karya or bigger task that Baba is carrying out, you will also be a part of it. And when you are a part of the bigger task, then the blessings that are earned in the bigger task, you also get a share of those blessings, and those blessings also make you move forward. So these are the directions that Baba gives us. Now Baba today tells us, underlines for us, that you maintain a chart every day. Yes, and what is a chart about? So a chart is a daily summary of whether you paid attention to the Murli, whether you listened to the Murli, whether you did your Amrit Vela. So the first point in the chart is whether you woke up at the right time and did Amrit Vela, and what was the quality of Amrit Vela. So were you in good remembrance, or was your mind wandering? So you note that down. Then whatever you fixed for yourself, the yoga timings, so could you adhere to them, and what was the quality of yoga at that time? Then did you read the Murli? Did you think about the Murli? Did you remember the Murli at the end of the day? So what was Baba trying to tell you? Do you remember at the end of the day? So these are also what you enter in the chart. Then there is another big important point, which is, did you take sorrow and give sorrow all through the day? So did you take sorrow when somebody did something? Did you mind it? Did you take it to heart? And did you do something to trouble somebody? And if you did that because you did not pay attention to virtues, Because you see, when our communication with, when we come into contact with souls, so we have to be very mindful of their sanskars. And if somebody, you say, you know that somebody gets angry very easily, then why rub them the wrong way? Yes, so, but it has become a habit to rub those people the wrong way who get troubled very easily. So you have to, you have to abstain from these pulls of old sanskars, and then you have to be in a very conscious behavior where you don't intentionally rub anybody the wrong way. And if somebody is doing something, you don't take it personally, you don't mind it, you check and only take what has to be acted upon. So let's say, I'll give you one example. So when my boss used to give me directions, so he would give it with a vibration and with comments and with everything, but I would just look at the direction. I would not see the tone, or I would not see how he is saying it, because that doesn't matter. That is not why I'm here, but I'm here to work. So when he's giving me directions about work, let me take those directions, do the work, and whatever opinion he is giving, I don't have to take it, because that is his personal opinion. So you have to make this habit of not taking sorrow, not giving sorrow. And then did you, and evening yoga also, that has a space in the chart. And then did you serve anybody? Did you do spiritual seva? Did you bring anybody closer to spiritual awareness through your actions, through your connection, through your behavior? Did you bring somebody to appreciate virtues in life? Did you bring somebody to appreciate how meditation is important in life? So that also you should enter in your chart of seva. So Baba says, maintain this chart every day. And what is the vidhi or the method of maintaining a chart? So you take a paper or take a notebook and you make columns, and then you put headings, and it's a monthly chart, and then you enter the digits, whatever percentage or yes or no, and then you send it to the teacher. In your case, it's me. So you send it at the end of the day to the WhatsApp number you've been given. That's the method to maintain the chart. Now you see, Baba today says this, that most children, Baba's children, they don't maintain the chart. And why don't they do that? Because they feel ashamed to maintain a chart when they are not doing as Baba says. Yes, so this is the reason why they don't maintain the chart. And I'll tell you, I'll share one very good experience with you. When I joined my first job, at that time, it was a very, very nice, very comfortable setting. So I used to leave office on Friday and go to my hometown and then come back on Monday. And what I used to do is, at 4 in the evening, before the office ended, I would leave on Friday. And after the office started at 11, I would come back on Monday. And then I had an officer, and he understood that she's very young. And he understood that if he gave me, if he just scolded me, then it would become very difficult for me to digest it, because that was my first job and I was very young. So what he did is, he found out a very good solution. He called me and he said, you know what, whenever you go, you just sign in my cabin. And whenever you come, after you come, you have to just sign in my cabin and go and sit in your place. And he did not tell me any other word. He did not tell me you can't go. He didn't tell me you can't come late. He didn't say any of that. And then, I did it for once. And when I went to sign in his office, I would see that he's watching that I came late, or he's watching that I'm leaving early. And then slowly, gradually, I felt so embarrassed that I stopped going on Fridays and coming back on Mondays. I would leave on Saturday and come back on Sunday. So you see that this is a very good, very interesting thing, that just by reporting, just by, this thing that you have to report makes you change your behavior. And I remember when I was growing up, my father also, my Lokik father, he never told me what to do, what not to do. He never told me you can't do this, you can't do that. But he was so good friends with me that he would always say that when you come back, he gave me time, and I used to sit with him and just share every detail of the day. And because of that habit that I had to share everything with him, it stopped me from doing many things, because I knew I couldn't stop myself from sharing it with him. So these are very good methods of changing your behavior. And Baba, the Supreme Father, Supreme Teacher, of course, knows better than any other human. So he also says that whatever you do in the day, just write it down in the before going to sleep, and submit your chart, and submit an honest chart. Because you see, the interesting thing is, we are not ashamed of spoiling our karma, but we are ashamed of telling it. This is the interesting thing. And you see, in the world, in this Kali Yuga, we are trained in a very tricky manner. So people say, a thief is a thief if caught. Have you heard that saying? Yes, chor wo jo pakda jaye. So they say a thief is a thief only when caught. But spirituality doesn't say that. The truth is, even if you don't get caught, you're still a thief. And the karmic account that you've created by stealing will have to be endured by you, will have to be, that will come to you, and you will have to deal with it. So this is what Baba says, that the thing that you're feeling ashamed of, why don't you write your regular chart? So if the chart is not good, then we don't write it. But just think about it, even if you don't write it, if you wasted your time, if you didn't use your opportunity to remember Baba or to create the karma that Baba teaches us to create, then what did we do? We lost out on the time and day, and we lost out on one full day of Sangam Yuga. And that means we incurred a very big loss when it comes to the place in Satyug that we are going to get. So Baba says, this is why you must understand that even when you are not writing it, the karmic burden is still being created. So you must pay attention to submitting your honest chart, and submitting your honest chart has many benefits. And the first benefit is, it will make you correct your behavior. Because you see, every day when you submit the same chart that no, I didn't do this, then it hurts your ego. And then you start doing whatever you're meant to do. So this is a very big motivation. So Baba says, writing your daily chart will only motivate you for the better. So don't ignore that. And I always think about this syndrome of looking good versus being good. Yes, so we want to look good, so we hide the bad. But you see, if we are not good and we are not doing good, then what happens is, the karmic consequences of all the bad that we do will come to us. And then Baba says, children also have this one fear, that what will Baba think? One fear is that. Second is, what if Baba shares this in the class? Yes, so let's say I come today and I name a brother or sister and say, your chart has been, very bad for several days. So children are very afraid of that, because you see, the biggest fear in any person is losing face. Yes, so the biggest fear of a Kaliyugi person is you don't want to lose face. You don't want your reputation to be soiled. But Baba says, what kind of hypocrisy is this? If your heart knows what you're doing, then how does it matter if anybody knows it or doesn't know it? Yes, if your heart knows that you're not doing the right thing, then if that heart and if your heart knows, then you know what kind of a person you are, then how does it matter what the other person thinks of you? Because you can't think highly of yourself. Yes, and I'll share one experience with you. So I had a colleague, and he was a very good writer, and he had written many books and poetry, and very nice poetry he used to write. So then once, there was a party, and after the party he told me that, I like to drink, but because I write very good books, nobody offers me a drink, because they assume that I wouldn't be drinking. So I said, so he said, this is the problem of a person who does good work. People think that you're good, so they don't offer you drinks or anything, or they think that, that would be insulting you. So he said, that's the price I pay. So I said, this is not a big problem. You go pick up the drink and drink it. So I said, but then what about my image? So I said, you have no image. You know who you are. So where are you creating that image? You are this person who is an imposter, writing something and being someone else. So it doesn't matter what other people think of you. And then he was so upset with that, and it took him time to digest that. And then he later told me that, what you told was such a bitter truth, it took me time to digest it, but it is actually so. So when I know that I am this person who is someone inside and someone outside, how does it matter if other people know? So I have decided that I will correct that within myself. I will be the person who writes those articles. So I said, okay, so you try to be that person then. So this was way back. So you see, Baba tells us that you must understand that in Kali Yuga, looking good is the bigger issue, but looking good is never an issue. Baba says how other people perceive you has got nothing to do with your karma or karmic account, but who you are and what you do has everything to do with your karma and destiny. So that is why don't think what other people would think if Baba spoke it out, or what Baba would think, but take this opportunity of submitting the honest chart every day, and in that honesty take the benefit that the writing the chart every day will give you, which is paying attention to your actions and changing it. So this is Baba's Murli today. It's a long Murli, and there are many other points, but this is one point that I covered, and you listen to the rest. Om Shanti.